Hello students, welcome to E-pgp Pathshala. I am Anup Kumar Kapoor from Department of Anthropology, University of Delhi, Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about module Early Primate Evolution from the paper Human Origin and Evolution. The learning objectives of the modules are: the learner will be able to develop an understanding about fossil primates and theories of primate origin, and insight about the extinct primate types of Pre-Pleistocene period. Before discussing the early primates, let's briefly discuss the fossil primates. Fossil primates. In the modern time, the living primates are graded in four principal domains, that is, prosimians, monkeys, ape, and man. On the basis of examination of fossil evidences, it has been established that all the living primates have evolved and adaptively related from a common ancestor. Fossil primates exhibit a paleontological record of evolutionary processes that occurred over the last 65 to 80 million years. Crucial evidence of intermediate forms that bridge the gap between extinct and extant taxa is yielded by the macroevolutionary study of the primate fossil evidences. The paleopathologists often utilize the comparative anatomical method to develop insight about morphological adaptations in fossil primates. Crucial insight into the diet and behavior of fossil primate is exhibited by comparing their dentition and skeleton traits with those of living primates. The examination of dental fossil material such as teeth could yield crucial information about the climate conditions of the period when the animal existed, if the geological structure in which the teeth were found is known. The primate fossil records and evidences provide crucial information on evolutionary trend of primate diversity over tens of millions of years. The geological time scale provides crucial evidences related to appearance and dominance of ancestral primates forms as shown in the figure. The Cenozoic era is characterized by the end of the age of dinosaurs and the beginning of the age of mammals. This geological era witnessed significant climate and topographic changes on Earth and held utmost importance in relation to primate origins and evolution. There were considerable geological and climatic changes during the Cenozoic era. The Cenozoic is further ramified into salmon epoch, Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene-Pliocene, Pleistocene, and Holocene. During the Cenozoic era, primates appeared and adaptively radiated into all the various species living today. It has been emphasized that earliest primates of Paleocene epoch were small prosimians like trees. During the Eocene epoch, leopards and tarsiers of various kinds were distributed across North America and parts of Europe and Asia. But gradually, with time, their number declined. In subsequent periods in the New World, prosimian forms led to development of the Patelini monkey, and in the Old World, these forms eventually evolved and led to emergence of Catarrhini monkeys, apes, and man. Now, when we see the figure, a possible hypothesis of relationship among extant and extinct primates, which is very clear from the figure. Another picture shows the major events in early primate evolution. theories of primate origin, scientists have proposed several theories in relation to primate origin and evolution, and the following three theories have gained recognition and acceptance. That is, arboreality, predation, and ecology. Fred Jelsey proposed the arboreal theory of primate origins and emphasized that primate origins represent an adaptive predation of new species from early arboreal ancestral mammals. A change in dietary patterns from insectivora to herbivora was the impulse for this evolutionary shift. In order to ease out locomotion and movement in the complex web of flexible tree branches, grasping hands and feet also evolved in these early mammals. Although the theory throws light upon modifications in dentition and limb morphology, it could not explain certain aspects of the primate visual system. Matt Cartmel developed an alternative idea on primate origins, which is known as the visual predation theory. Cartmel emphasized that primate origins can be traced back to visual adaptations and modifications for hunting prey in arboreal dwellings. He further opined that arboreal hunting led to evolution of grasping hands and nails, which could facilitate primates to capture and hold prey in small and terminal branches. But the detailed ecological examination of insectivorous primates showed significant flaws in Cartmel's theory. Wright et al. Suggested that nocturnal insectivores are more likely to hunt using smell and sound rather than relying upon visual system, and Garber suggested that termites characterized with claw-like nails exhibit adaptation in both hunting for insects in terminal branches and climbing to tree trunks to feed on exudates. This observation led in part to Robert Sussman's more ecologically based idea on primate origins called the angiosperm coevolutionary theory. He suggested that prime impulse behind primate origins and adaptations was the roughly co-evolution of angiosperm plants. The evolution of angiosperm plants formulated a new set of ecological needs for animals. The former lured animals to disperse their seeds and in turn provided tasty and nutritious fruit to them. Primates were one of the principal taxonomic groups that evolved to take advantage of this scenario. But it was emphasized that the field studies of living mammals similar to those that led to the first primates did not provide crucial evidence in support of either Sussman's or Cartmel's theories singly, but provided support for aspects of both theories. When we take Pre-Pleistocene epoch, in order to develop understanding about early primate evolution, primate fossil remains from the different strata of Pre-Pleistocene period deposits are discussed and dealt with. Now, Paleocene primates. The Paleocene epoch was characterized by warm climatic conditions with savannas and woodlands dominating the geographical domain in North America and Europe. The mountainous regions of North America and France in Europe yielded fossil remains of several varieties of the primate, like taxa, and most of the remains consisting of teeth and fragments of jaw. The deposit of Middle Paleocene epoch yielded the fossil evidence of existence of the earliest primates. The transition from Cretaceous to Paleocene epoch was noted by appearance of small and primitive insectivorous mammals called purgatorious ceratops. The late Ceratoceous deposit yielded a single lower molar tooth, which is linked to Purgatorious ceratops, that is, according to Watson and Sloan in 1965. This genus, along with other species of primitive primates, is grouped under the infraorder Plesioidioformes given by Clemens in 1974. Plesioidioformes encompasses three major families, namely Sarcopellistites, Phenocholmurites, and Plesioidiophytite. On the basis of fossil evidences, it is emphasized that most of these genera existed in North and a few in Europe. The family Sarcopellistites is defined by certain typical fossil evidences such as jaws, both maxilla and mandibles, and teeth. Phenocholmurites group represent the earliest form of the primate forms, but there is a lack of fossil evidences related to this group. Among the three groups, Plesioidophyte represent the best known family. The fossil remains of Plesioidophyte were constituted by complete fossil skull and other parts of the skeleton. The members of this family were devoid of stereoscopic vision. According to Swindler in 2004, suggested that members of Plesioidioformes were characterized by an auditory bulla formed by petrosal portion of the temporal bone, a hallmark of living primates, and a dental formula in most cases of 2133 for both upper and lower jaws, indicating a reduction from the basing Etherian, that is 3143 dental formula. Several scientific investigations have emphasized that Plesioidophytes are likely to be members of the primate order. Plesioidophytes, a prominent archaic under Plesioidioformes, possessed primitive mammalian features such as claws instead of nails, rodent-like jaws and teeth, eyes at the side of the head, greatly enlarged incisors, a long snout, and no post-orbital bar, as shown in the figure. Now, the next figure presents the reconstruction of Plesioidophytes, a prominent archaic under Plesioidioformes. The Pleistodimorphism is traditionally different from Prosimi and Anthropoids, and it can be agreed that the former are not ancestral to modern primates but represent an early offshoot from the primate family tree that does not lead to modern primates, as given by Salas in 2000. Next figure shows about the major anatomical differences between archaic Plesioidimorphisms and early fossil primates. Eocene primates, that is, several evidences from paleoclimatology, paleobotany, and biogeography indicate that Eocene epoch represented maximum warming during the Cenozoic era. The primates of the Eocene epoch are often characterized as euprimates. Euprimates, that is, true primates, resemble modern-day primates in various aspects such as presence of forwarding facing orbits, post-orbital bar, and opposite first toe, and grasping hands and feet. Most Eocene primates are typically divided into two major families, that is, Adapti and Homolidi, that is given by Swindle in 2004. The former and the later are more lemur-like and tarsier-like in their morphology respectively. The edified members inhabited North America, Europe, and Asia, and further ramified into subfamilies, namely the Nothrotyne and the Adapine. The Homoids were categorized into three subfamilies, namely Anapotoformines, Homoines, and Microcorinates. When we see the reconstruction of Northocatus and Adaptide presented in the given figure, which shows very clearly, the Adaptides with dental formula 2143 were characterized by primitive dental traits, and their canines were projecting and displayed sexual dimorphism. Based on the examination of postcranial bones, it was suggested that they were mostly diurnal in their activity pattern and vertical clinal and leaper in their locomotion. The dental formula of Homodites was 2133, but there was no evidence of sexual dimorphism in their dentition and body weight. They were arboreal and preferred nocturnal lifestyle. All homoids possessed unfused mandibular symphysis and tubular ectomorphinic bone. Adaptates had a fused mandibular symphysis and ring-shaped ectotympanic bone. Many primate paleontologists supported the view that members of infraorder Adaptiformes were close relatives of the ancestor of the modern-day tooth-combed primates, while at least some homiforms exhibited resemblance to tarsian, that is, Saussonius. Although Adaptiforms were devoid of tooth combs, but they shared various aspects of their wrist and ankle morphology with the living Staphylococcus. Several modern taxonomic classifications support the idea that homoforms are located on the haplorhini side of suborbital divide, while adaptiforms are placed with the Staphylococcus. However, whether similarities exist between tarsiers and homophimorms represent close evolutionary relationship is a debatable issue as given by Masters 2009. Now the next picture, the figure provides the comparison of adaptopods and homoids. Now when we see Oligocene primates, the Eocene-Oligocene transition, that is 39 to 23 million years ago, is marked by continued modification in global geography, climate, and primate habitats. This transition is also referred to as Grande Capucherie, the Great Break in continuity, because vast majority of mammals became extinct during this transition. The earliest fossil primates were discovered in the late Oligocene, and all these primate fossils were anthropoids. Although several euprimates became extinct in North America and Europe, but new primate taxa evolved in Asia, Africa, and South America. Most Oligocene primates can be categorized into three principal taxonomic groups within the haplorhini suborder, that is, Parapithecids, Propylopithecidae, and Platyrini. The Parapithecids, which include the smallest anthropoid primate called Quaterina, are the most common primate fossils recovered from the Fayumim, that is Cairo in Egypt, deposits. Most Parapithecid members possess a primitive dental formula, that is 2133, and have retained the third premolars, a common feature found among all modern Platyrinis. It is likely that Parapithecids were polygynous as they had sexually dimorphic canines. The postcranial anatomy of Parapithecids in several features exhibit more resemblance to New World monkeys than to Old World monkeys or apes. Then Flegel in 1988 emphasized the members of Propylopithecidae are comparatively larger than the Parapithecids, with Oreopithecus being the largest Fayum primates. These early Fayum primates are often ape-like and exhibit an array of both ape and monkey traits. The Propylopithecids represent primitive Catarrhini before the split into apes and old world monkeys. The lower Oligocene deposits of Fayum yielded an incomplete lower jaw with teeth but without the ascending rami, and this fossil evidence is attributed to Pre-Pleistocene, which is considered to be primitive anthropoid ape and to be very closely linked with gibbon. In comparison to the jaw of modern gibbon, the recovered jaw was somewhat deeper, shorter, and more pointed, although Pre-Pleistocene is considered to be the ancestor of the modern day gibbons. But the Oreopithecus, another African variety of the Oligocene primates, exhibited much more closer resemblance to the modern gibbon as given by Das in 2010. Miocene and Pliocene epoch can be examined together. This period yielded fossil remains of various hominoid forms besides that of Cebidae, Cercopithecidae and Lorisidae from different locations of Asia, Europe and Africa. In late Miocene, the hominoid forms spread from Spain, Ramapithecus, east through Europe, Oreopithecus and Coronopithecus to Pakistan, that is Semapithecus, across the Tibetan Plateau to China, that is called Liphnogypithecus, and several species were left in Africa such as Canopithecus. The old world monkeys continued to radiate through Pre-Pleistocene into many new eco-niches, particularly in Africa and Asia. The late Miocene hominoids exhibited resemblance in certain traits such as: first, they inhabited forested or wooded regions. Many appear to have been quadrupedal climbers and walkers, but some forms may have also employed suspensory activities. They exhibited sexual dimorphism and were moderately large to quite large, that is large monkeys to small gorillas. Now the table displays the principal morphological differences between Miocene and extant apes. When we take Pliopithecus fossil remains were discovered from early Pliocene, late Miocene deposits of Europe. The fossil specimen was represented by an incomplete mandible. It exhibited resemblance with gibbon in having characters such as white set eyes, narrow snout portion, and monkeys with reference to upper limb, spinal column, and general body proportions. At Pro-Pliopithecus stage in Oligocene epoch, a bifurcation of gibbon line was observed. When we talk about Ramapithecus probably quite ape-like primate fossils were represented by some teeth and jawbone excavated from Miocene and Pliocene deposits of Europe and the Swalik Hills of India. It has been opined that Ramapithecus are most likely ancestors of the modern Pongidae members, that is gorilla and chimpanzee. The cubs of the lower molar teeth of Ramapithecus exhibits a Y5 arrangement. The next comes the Proconsul. The early Miocene deposits in Kenya, that is in East Africa, yielded fossil remains of Proconsul. Leakey discovered majority of the Proconsul fossil remains, and the remains exhibited significant variation in size and other traits. Proconsul africanus, Proconsul major, and Proconsul nancy represent three principal species. The limb bone structure revealed that Proconsul was not adapted to the arboreal brachiation. Then comes Ramapithecus. Genus Ramapithecus represent some crucial hominid forms from Miocene period. The fossil evidence of the genus is mostly represented by teeth and jaw specimens, which are mainly obtained from two regions, the Swalik Hills in India and Fort Tendon in Kenya. G. E. Lois in 1932 was the first person to discover Ramapithecus fossils in the Swalik Hill regions of India. Simon, on the basis of the examination of fossil evidences of the Miocene to early Pliocene period, suggested that there were two genera at that time, namely Ramapithecus and Ramapithecus. He emphasized that Ramapithecus represented the initial step in the evolutionary divergence of humans from the common hominid stock, which led to the development of modern apes and humans. The dental features of Ramapithecus were different from Ramapithecus as the formal genus. The incisor and the canines are smaller in relation to molar, but is not so in the latter, and the Ramapithecus pattern of molar cups was not observed in Ramapithecus dental specimen. The upper jaw of Ramapithecus is shortened and the palate is arched and bears more resemblance to man than to Ramapithecus. The members of the genus Ramapithecus was probably erect biped and with hands free. Some scholars suggested that Ramapithecus is most likely the ancestor of Homo sapiens. Thus, in 2008, even opined that Ramapithecus line was separated from Ramapithecus lineage in the Miocene epoch, and the separation was complete by the Pliocene epoch. Oreopithecus. In 1870, the fossil remains of Oreopithecus were discovered from Tuscan, northern Italy, and later in 1972, The remains were described by Jarvis as reported by Das in 2008. It was regarded as a sarcopathicoid monkey, but in 1948 suggested that Oreopithecus is a hominid, not a sarcopathicoid monkey. Hertzler gave an account of certain hominid traits such as small size of teeth, absence of premolar and diastema, small canine, short and not so prognathous face, and higher positioning of mental foramen as found in man. Pleistocene epoch, the Quaternary period, is bifurcated into two epochs, that is Pleistocene and Holocene. That is the reason. Pleistocene epoch marked the beginning of the Quaternary period, and the Tertiary period ended with Pliocene epoch. The genus Osteopithecus and Homo appeared during Pliocene period, and both these genera represent the first members of family Hominidae. The Pleistocene epoch witnessed the evolution of man from ape-like creature, that is Osteopithecus, to Homo sapiens. Pleistocene deposits have yielded numerous fossil remains of central hominid forms. Three principal phases have been emphasized and highlighted in the course of hominid evolution. In chronological sequence, these include the stage of Osteopithecus, the stage of Homo erectus, and the stage of Neanderthal man as reported by Das in 2008. The late Pleistocene deposits yielded crucial fossil evidences related to the Cro-Magnon, that is Argonesian time of Upper Paleolithic period, Grimaldi and Chance-Rayleigh. Now when we see the figures, the hominid evolution with time, that is very clear how these different stages have evolved. The module can be summarized as early primate evolution is a complex phenomena, and in order to understand this phenomena, one should be acquainted with extinct and extant primate species. Dental remains forms the most frequent fossil evidence related to ancestral primate species. The approach of comparative anatomy helps primate paleontologists to develop an understanding about morphological adaptations and general pattern of diet, locomotion, activity pattern, and even social organization, which help the ancestral primate species to survive in archaic climatic conditions. Several theories related to primate origin have been developed, but three prominent hypotheses, namely arboreal predation and ecology, gain recognition. The principal morphological adaptations that helped the early primate forms to successfully inhabit their particular environments were prehensile fingers and toes and binocular visual system. It is suggested that the first ancestral mammalian forms, that is infraorder Placidiformes, related to two primates, but they were not their direct ancestors, evolved prior to or during the Paleocene epoch. But the Paleocene and the Eocene transition witnessed that the earliest two primate radiations and the first euprimates or definitely primates lived in the Eocene epoch. Eocene and Pliocene transition witnessed a massive extinction event called as Grand Kapuri. This event marked the disappearance of two prominent Eocene primates families, that is Adapti and Homophyte, from Europe. Fossil evidences of extinct primates obtained from Oligocene epoch indicated morphological resemblance in several aspects to some modern monkeys. The Miocene epoch experienced an extensive predation of ape-like primate species, which gradually disappeared during the Pliocene epoch, and the early hominids belonged to the genus Osteopithecus, which appeared during Pliocene epoch, paved the way for the evolution of modern humans. Thank you.